Coming up, he's a New York Times best-selling sci-fi author who draws inspiration from his Oklahoma roots.
Yeah, part of my background is all of this nerdy robot stuff and math and science. But the other part of me is the kid who grew up in the Cherokee Nation and in Oklahoma.
A day in the life of writer Daniel H. Wilson and the exciting film projects on the horizon. And marbles.
We did too!
Some say it's a lost art, but not in the Cherokee Nation. We play along with one family that continues to pass the fun down through every generation.
I learned from my father. My son, he wanted to learn, so I started teaching whoever wants to play. We tell him, just come on, you'll learn. We'll teach you how.
And Cherokee National Treasure Eddie Morrison shows us how these big blank stones become works of art and the stories behind them.
Creating anything, I think, to me is a mystery. Where does it come from, you know? I mean, I can look at a rock or a piece of wood and see an image in it.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture. Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong.
Learning. Growing.
Succeeding.
And steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle.
But the future is ours to write.
Osiyo.
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 These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
Osiyo. I'm Principal Chief Bill John Baker. Welcome to the Cherokee Nation and Osiyo TV. This is how we share our culture, our heritage, our history, and our language with you. Wado.
Osiyo. It's how we say hello in Cherokee. In this episode, we'll learn about the traditional Cherokee pastime called marbles and how hard hits and heckling are all part of the fun. Plus, we'll grind stone with sculptor Eddie Morrison, whose work is sought after across the country. But first, New York Times best-selling author Daniel H. Wilson. He's a self-proclaimed robotics nerd who's turned his passion into a writing career and has some film projects in the works with some pretty impressive producers.
When I was a kid, I was really into science fiction. I spent a lot of time with my head buried in a book. For me, it was a way just to kind of like get out of whatever situation I was in and go someplace else. I'm Daniel H. Wilson, and I'm a writer. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I grew up in North Tulsa, Harvard and Pine, you know, down the street from my grandma. And my dad ran a body shop, Howard's Auto Shop and Body Shop on North Peoria. I managed to get into Carnegie Mellon, the Robotics Institute. Ultimately, it was 2 master's degrees and a PhD in robotics. And as I got through graduate school, I started writing papers, obviously, to go present, you know, my research and everything. And so I started realizing that's where my strengths were at. And then I had this like really silly idea for a book called How to Survive a Robot Uprising. What if I just took science fiction totally seriously and said, well, fine, you know, let's ask roboticists, like, how do you escape from each type of robot, you know, each type of scenario? And then I transitioned into writing novels. I wrote a book called Robopocalypse, Amped, and a novel called Robogenesis, which is the sequel to Robopocalypse. This is pretty cool. I mean, from the graphic novel that I wrote, Quarantine Zone, the artist sent me some of the original work, you know. And it's also one of the most fun parts of writing a comic or a graphic novel is, you know, I just wrote a couple of words. A boy stands in a doorway, and then he creates like a work of art. Here's my 3 novels that I've written so far, Amped and Robopocalypse and Robogenesis. And then short story, all my DC, Earth 2, World's End stuff. Then all the nonfiction, Mad Scientist Hall of Fame, How to Build a Robot Army, How to Survive a Robot Uprising, my good old brojitsu, including this classic photo of me pulling my little brother's hair, just to show my brojitsu bona fides. And Then, yeah, a lot of short stories that have been in anthologies. Yeah, it's kind of piling up.
Checkmate. Ultimately protecting what is most precious to them.
The Nostalgist is a short story that I actually was inspired by The Old Man and the Sea, the old Hemingway. My vision was of a world where the real world, the gritty real world, was not a place where you'd want to live, you know, a scary place. But if you put on these things called eyes, which just look like glasses, and ears, which look like a hearing aid, then you can have your experience of the world sanitized, sort of like a skin put over the world, so you see the world that you want to live in. I got this call from a director. His name's Giacomo Cimini. He wants to make a short film out of this story that I wrote. I bought a ticket. I went out to London where they were shooting this, and the second I arrived, it just blew me away. Seeing the film process firsthand also made me understand the difference between writing novels and writing feature scripts. Robopocalypse had sort of a charmed life, for sure. What happened with us was DreamWorks called and said, we want to buy the rights to Robopocalypse today. We hadn't sold the book yet. We had to sell it that day, because it was one of those offers where you either take it or leave it. And my lawyer, I remember, she was very happy. She goes, I think it's Spielberg. 1 week later, I visited Amblin, which is the production company there, and I met Steven Spielberg, and we talked about robots, and it was a really amazing experience because he was involved with Robopocalypse before anybody, really, before anybody had bought it. So I had that conversation while I was still writing the book. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years about Hollywood and setting my expectations. Having that come so close to going into production and then stall out, kind of like was a good growing experience for me. I kind of realized, you know, everything doesn't always go your way, and when it does, you better be grateful for it because, you know, I've had a lot of really good luck. So I'm just grateful every day I get to keep writing books and not have to get what I consider a real job. You know? When Robopocalypse came out, and I had some interview and somebody said, yo, you know, why all the Native American characters, you know? I said, well, I grew up in Oklahoma, I'm a Cherokee citizen. You can't help but to put yourself into what you write. Yeah, part of my background is all of this nerdy robot stuff and math and science. But the other part of me is the kid who grew up in the Cherokee Nation and in Oklahoma. I mean, it's so much fun to realize that I wrote a best-selling book that is Indians and robots. And it's like, those are the two things that are important in my life. and people actually care enough to buy and read a novel about that, you know? It's just kind of crazy to me.
Some say the game of marbles is a lost art. We're talking about these kinds of marbles, not the small ones. It's a Cherokee pastime that's said to date back hundreds of years. But as you'll see, it's a game that continues to inspire new generations of Cherokee marble players.
Yeah, anywhere. Go ahead. Window. Marbles is a strategic game and a skillful game that you learn the more you play. It's more like a game of checkers or chess. You kind of just think, makes you think. My name is Delbert Foreman. I've been playing marbles pretty much my whole life. I learned from my father. After church, we would always stop by at the marble field. They'd play till late in the night, about 2 or 3 probably sometimes. When the older people were playing, we had our own marble field on the side. When they played, we'd played too. All the other families around here as well, they know how to play. If there's a marble field pretty much close by, they know how to play. Well, they've got an idea how to play. Like each member of the team will have a marble, and they start off from the second hole, they'll throw to the first. And the object is to try to make the hole. When one team goes all the way through to the 5th hole, and it comes all the way back to the first, and each member has made the last hole. That's how you win.
Start the game behind the second hole, and we roll to the first hole up there. When whoever gets closest, it's gonna be on teams.
We're gonna lag. It's what they call lagging. You know, when you play pool and stuff, you get a partner. Looks like Bill's my partner. Whoa, whoa, oh, I might be right.
Jerry way out there. Bill and Rich are on sides, me and Jared.
We use a smaller ring, and whenever you get inside that ring, you can just pick it up and set it in the hole.
I can just reach in, you know, because I'm in there, that's it. But he's got to scoot back and roll in from back there.
Nowadays, we use an outer ring. When you get in there, you have to scoot back behind that ring to try to make the hole. Before, they didn't have that outer ring. They would just play with that smaller ring.
So if when you roll in, you're going to stay behind the hole. We call that the marble line. So all up there like that. Try to make in that circle up there. They got pretty close. And when they make the second hole right here, they become a 2-hitter.
Help me out. Oh, oh, he made it.
If you're playing a 2-on-2 game and your partner's at the next hole having problems trying to make it,
oh, he's out.
You want to hit their marble as far as you can away from the hole. That way it gives them 2 or 3 times to try to make it.
Oh, you better make it.
There you go, hit him.
A lot of times too, whenever they hit hard, it's just to get into the other person's head. They'll start talking to you, just trying to mess you up.
Might as well go no mercy.
It's pretty much like heckling, just so that you would miss.
Don't hit the camera.
Get them out of their game. It's all done for fun. That's where we pretty much just hang out and just have fun with each other. Andy knows. Andy's my uncle. They used to always be the ones that were on top, always making it to Tahlequah, play the Cherokee National Holiday Marble Tournament. That's pretty good to look at. This was Bernice's journal, Andy's wife. I guess she probably didn't know she was doing it for history or anything, probably just like for, how would you say it, like minutes or something. Yeah. We got second last year, third before, and then we won it this year. We won it 4 times in a row at one time. Larry Crittenden, Richard Fields, Isaac Youngbird, and Dennis Sixkiller.
Back in 1998, and we won it. We won that tournament that year. That's been a few years back.
We used to play over there at, by Lee Foreman's house. We had a lot of fun.
This is my grandpa, Lee. He's the one who used to take care of the marble field up there too. He used to make the hole, get it all set up, smooth the holes out, and now that's what we do. My son, he wanted to learn, so I started teaching probably around 2 or 3. I guess he thought it was pretty fun. He learned to play pretty good. He got one of those. Whoever wants to play, we tell him, just come on, you'll learn.
Oh.
We'll teach you how.
As early as the late 1700s, groups of Cherokees began emigrating west and settling in present-day Arkansas. They became known as the Cherokee Nation West, or Old Settlers. After the Western Cherokee chief Talentiski visited Brainerd Mission in 1818, he recognized the benefits of offering a Western education to Cherokees. He requested that the American Board of Commissioners for Foreign Missions establish a school in Western Cherokee country, and in 1820, Dwight Mission was founded near present-day Russellville, Arkansas. In 1828, the Cherokee Nation West reluctantly signed a treaty that ceded all lands in Arkansas for lands in Indian Territory. 1 year later, in 1829, Dwight Mission was relocated to its current site on Salisaw Creek in what would become the Cherokee Nation. In addition to the academic education and agricultural training at the school, the mission served as sort of a community gathering place for Cherokees. There was a post office on site, and public church services were conducted in both English and Cherokee. The Dwight Mission Press published materials in both languages, and Sequoyah, who lived in the area, was said to frequent the mission as well. Though it closed several times over the years from 1830 to 1948, Dwight Mission operated primarily as a school for Indian students. Levada Wildcat is one of the last surviving students. She visited with us at Dwight Mission and shared her stories of attending school there.
Our mother died in 1946, and Father decided to bring us to Dwight Mission. Everyday life was just entirely different. We had Bible classes, and there was music in the evenings, and there were work details that every student was assigned to. We had a lot of sewing and beadwork they taught us after school. Before bedtime, many times, Mr. Griffin would meet us under one of those shade trees and talk to us about history of Dwight Mission. It was lots of fun, very wholesome fun.
Dwight Mission is currently operated as a summer camp. Every summer, kids experience history as they utilize some of the same buildings that Levada and generations of Cherokees lived, learned, and played in.
Jalagi, iniwani. Let's talk Cherokee. October. Duni Nodi.
Duni Nodi.
I was born in October. Duni Nodi. Katla. Awadanai.
Duni Nodi. Katla. Awadanodi.
Fawn. Ahwi. Agina.
Ahwi. Agina.
The fawn is beautiful. Ahwi. Agina. Uwoduhi.
Ahwi. Agina. Uwoduhi.
Biscuits. Uni jalesti. Gadu.
Uni jalesti. Gadu.
I want some biscuits. Uni jalest. Gadu. Dawaduli.
Uni jalest. Gadu. Dawaduli.
The 64th Cherokee National Holiday brought thousands of visitors to Tahlequah for the annual event. Downtown was transformed into a Cherokee showplace as vendors and artists connected with people from all over the country. The annual holiday parade was a crowd favorite, and people learned about Cherokee artists, traditions, and got to connect with old friends and family. Also at Holiday, Principal Chief Bill John Baker's State of the Nation speech called on all tribal citizens to be good stewards of our land. He asked Cherokees to fulfill our obligation to protect the earth and preserve our resources for future generations.
Our treaties define our land boundaries and recognize something very special. Our legacy as Cherokees to watch over the land.
Chief Baker highlighted some of the tribe's actions to protect the environment, including a plan to work with private industry and federal, state, and local agencies to lower, reduce, and eliminate air and water pollution within the Cherokee Nation boundaries. The chief also announced the creation of the Cherokee Nation Fish and Wildlife Association. It's the first of its kind in Indian country. Everyone is invited to become charter members or friends of the organization. The Fish and Wildlife Association will serve as an advocacy group so that anyone interested in the protection of streams and wildlife in northeastern Oklahoma will be able to stay current on all environmental issues affecting the areas, and they'll receive hunting and fishing tips and notices about special events. The Cherokee Nation opened the new Joe Thornton Archery Range near the tribe's complex in Tahlequah. It's the first range ever built on tribal lands and only the third public archery park in Oklahoma. It features a 70-meter Olympic-style range with a 125-foot awning. There's also a tower, restrooms, and a 3D target range. Archery has been part of the Cherokee tradition for hundreds of years, and the new range is a way to continue that tradition.
It's been 20 months in the works, but we are ready. We're ready to go with this range.
The range is a partnership with the Oklahoma Wildlife Department and is named after Cherokee Nation citizen and world champion archer Joe Thornton, who, at 100 years old, launched the inaugural arrows. For more Cherokee Nation news, go to anadisco.com or go to osiyo.tv and click on links mentioned. Eddie Morrison is a nationally recognized award-winning sculptor living a passion-filled life in the heart of Cherokee country. It turns out this land that now inspires his artwork was also a place of refuge for Eddie when life as a young boy got tough.
They call me Eddie Morrison. I am a sculptor. I am Cherokee, and I am very proud of it. So it's been a long, hard road, but I've made it this far, and hopefully I've got a little ways to go. Someday they'll find me with a chisel in my cold, dead hands, but that's who I am. Well, my stepfather was a welder. He went to welding school, and we all packed up and went to South Carolina for what they call the bomb plant. It was the atomic energy plant down in Savannah, Georgia. I was fairly dark-skinned. And when I go to school, very racist, very racist. I was beat up. I mean, I had to walk a gauntlet almost to be at school there. And I always tell people, I said, and that kind of made me gun shy. And ever since, I've always been kind of, I guess it's been a struggle to speak in front of people. Well, I lived there until I couldn't take it anymore, and I started acting out, and they brought me back to live with my grandmother here in Tahlequah. I was probably in the 4th, 5th grade, something like that. But, well, it was a long time overcoming that. I was raised by my grandmother, and her name was Jane A. Batt. She was a full-blood Cherokee, spoke and wrote Cherokee. I would watch her piece quilts and things and make her designs in them, and I was always fascinated how she could just you know, think about it and cut those pieces out and then make a real beautiful quilt. And she had a sister that would come and visit when I was a small boy, and she could draw, and I was always fascinated that she could draw like that. And one of her favorite subjects was to draw panthers, and she'd tell me different stories about the panthers and different things like that. And of course, I think that influences you to be around people doing things like that. But I'll take a stone and I'll look at it for quite a while. It's kind of like this stone here on the floor. I haven't really decided what I want to do with it, but it has a lot of potential just because of as I was talking about, the natural lines a while ago that come across it. I can see a lot of things in that. I could draw and do different things, so I said, well, I'll try painting. But it never really came real natural to me, and I kind of struggled with it. I picked up a piece of wood and after seeing some wood carvings and stuff, and it came so natural I couldn't believe it. And then I heard about this man named Alan Hauser, who was a famous stone sculptor. He was going to be a guest instructor through the Art Student League of Denver. So I saved my $400 and paid for a week's training up there. Alan took me under his wing because I was the only native guy, and he knew a lot of Oklahoma artists. He knew Cecil Dick, Willard Stone, and I was quite impressed with him. He encouraged me to go on to school at Santa Fe to the Institute of American Indian Arts. And I think that's when my career really took off. I learned a lot from him, and I always admired, even more than his art, I admired him as a man because he carried himself very well. I just think it was a blessing, really, to have met him and watched him work and had him show me and mentor me. I don't really try to win the awards anymore. Like I said, I can't compete with the new, young artists, but I've won my fair share of awards over the years. And when I make a piece, I don't try to make a piece to win an award on. I make it for me and for the people I think would appreciate it. I became a Cherokee National Treasure in 2014. It was, I always tell people, I said that was the pinnacle of my career, I think. I'm very proud of that, to have been named a Cherokee National Treasure. It's a great honor, and it was something that it would take a lot to top it. I kind of grew up around people doing things with their hands and making, you know, quilts and crocheting and carving things out of wood and just creating things with their hands. And so I think, you know, you're influenced by that, but a lot of times I do think it's just in your DNA too, that creating anything, I think, to me is a mystery. Where does it come from, you know? I mean, I can look at a rock or a piece of wood and see an image in it. My work has gone all over the world, and it's just like a part of me going out somewhere. I like to think that if somebody thinks enough of my work to take it home with them or take it somewhere, that, you know, they're accepting me into their house. So I'm very proud of that. I've got work coast to coast, and I've been blessed. And I tell people it's a blessing. It's to be what I do, to be given a gift that I was given. I still surprise myself sometimes. I can do a piece of art. I can sit back, it'll send a cold chill down me and say, man, did I do that? So.
Eddie Morrison is one of many Cherokee artists whose work will be featured and on sale at the annual Cherokee Art Market. This year's market is October 8th and 9th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Tulsa. Of course, you can always buy authentic Cherokee artwork at the Cherokee Nation gift shop. Just visit CherokeeGiftShop.com or go to Osiyo.tv and click on links mentioned. Next time on Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People. He was a Cherokee Nation citizen from Chelsea, Oklahoma, who went on to become the highest-ranking Native American in naval history. We look back on the storied career of Admiral Joseph James Jocko Clark. Tune in for that story and much more next time on Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People. We hope you enjoyed our show, and remember you can always watch entire episodes and share your favorite stories online at Osiyo.tv. There is no Cherokee word for goodbye. We say, Donadago Ha'i. We'll see each other again. So until next time, Wado.
I think it's important to be active because it's fun and it just keeps me in shape.
CHIP is that extra insurance that covers the cost in case there's an injury. We can get your family covered with insurance.